So here's something most people don't realize. Pricing a home is never one size fits all. Two neighbors can have the exact same floor plan, but what we do with the price, the listing price, can look completely different depending on why they're selling their home. Are we trying to maximize profit? Are we trying to move quickly? Are we coordinating a purchase on the other end? Are we preparing for repairs or an appraisal risk? Your motivation as a seller directly impacts your pricing strategy. And if your agent doesn't adjust for that, you could lose tens of thousands of dollars or months of your time. Today, I'm breaking down the top 5 seller motivations we see here in the triangle and how we tailor pricing based on the story behind the sale. Hey everyone, Sam here with Dream Team Realty Group. We help families across Wake, Johnston, and Harnett Counties navigate buying and selling with clarity and confidence. If you want real, local market guidance without the fluff, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. So let's start with the big one, job relocation. We see this very often, and when a seller is relocating, whether it's military orders, a corporate move, or just a new opportunity, the timeline is usually non-negotiable. In these cases, the pricing strategy is built on 2 priorities. Number 1, sell quickly, and number 2, avoid surprises. You know, we can't play the let's test the market game here. The goal is to price it in a way that immediately positions your home as the most attractive option. Not underpriced, just correctly priced to get strong traffic right away. And here's what that looks like. We price it based on the most recent data, not the highest possible comp from 4 months ago. We run a pre-list appraisal or deep comp analysis to avoid appraisal issues later, or maybe we do aggressive pre-market prep, photos, updates, minor repairs, because relocators can't afford a second week on the market. We aim to create urgency in the first 3 to 5 days of being listed. You know, when you have a drop-dead move date, certainty is more important than chasing that last $5,000. And when we price strategically, we often end up with multiple offers anyway, even with a speed-focused approach. So next up, let's talk about folks who are buying and selling at the same time. This is really one of the most delicate pricing strategies because everything you do on the selling side affects your options on the buying side. So for these sellers, we are balancing things like the need for strong proceeds to help with the next purchase, the need for predictability so we can line up the next move, maybe the need to avoid carrying 2 mortgages in this scenario, and also the reality that most buyers want flexibility on their closing dates. So how would we work to price here? We would price to sell within a predictable window, typically 7 to 12 days, rather than gambling for a unicorn offer. We avoid aspirational pricing that could delay your purchase timeline. We price with the goal of attracting buyers who will work with your preferred closing date or allow a rent back if needed. We highlight the home's biggest value points to increase our leverage because a clean, predictable offer matters just as much as the sale price does. And many people forget this. When you're upsizing or downsizing, the price you set affects your ability to compete on your next offer. We craft the pricing strategy with your next move in mind, not just your current home. So let's talk about another motivation around selling. This could include maybe selling an inherited home. And it's an emotional and very common thing when you're selling an inherited home. These homes often need repairs, updating, a deep clean, and the family is usually balancing estate timelines, legal paperwork, and carrying costs of the property. So the pricing strategy here depends heavily on condition, how fast the estate needs to wrap up, whether the family wants to invest in updates or sell the property as is. You've got carrying costs like taxes, insurance, HOA dues, and utilities that are still active at the property, and whether there's a probate court timeline involved. So what do we do here? If the home is dated or needs repairs, we run 2 pricing paths. Path A, sell the home as is. It's priced to attract investors or value-minded buyers. Or Path B, light improvements for a strong retail sale price. We present real numbers so the family can choose the best return for their scenario. And here's the key. Inherited homes attract a different buyer pool. These buyers are usually willing to take on updates, but they want the price to reflect the work ahead. So we price it in a way that acknowledges the condition, removes negotiation headaches, respects the family's time and emotional bandwidth, and still positions the home as a smart buy for the right buyer. Okay, let's talk about a sensitive but very real motivation for sellers, divorce or separation. In these situations, the pricing strategy has to support both people, not one, and the priorities are often completely different. What matters most in these sales is a predictable timeline, extreme transparency in pricing, minimizing back and forth or emotion-driven decisions, and documentation and fairness for all parties. We price very intentionally here, usually based on the cleanest, most defensible comps, because both parties need to feel the strategy is fair and data-driven. And here's how we adjust our strategy. We avoid pricing too high, which leads to frustration. We avoid finger pointing, unnecessary delays. We avoid pricing too low unless both parties agree it's strategic and the route they want to go. We also set a goal timeline based on financial or legal needs, for example, separating housing payments. We maintain communication channels that protect privacy and reduce stress. And this is really one of the scenarios where the process is just as important as the price. A good pricing strategy keeps emotions low and outcomes high. And finally, the sellers who are simply saying we want to capture equity, upgrade, invest, or just take advantage of the current market environment. These are the sellers that have the most flexibility, and flexibility gives us options. When someone is motivated by maximizing profit rather than a strict timeline, we can pursue a more assertive pricing strategy. We could price maybe slightly above the market if the property condition also supports that. We could test the top of the range of the comparable sales as long as we have a strategy for fast adjustment if it's needed. We could roll out a coming soon period to build buyer interest and demand. We could do staging, repairs, and pre-market upgrades to push the final sales price higher. But even with these sellers, there is a balance. Pricing too high can backfire fast, and we've all seen homes sit 30, 60, 90 days and ultimately sell for less than if they'd priced correctly from day one. So for maximize the equity sellers, we typically recommend a pricing strategy that positions the home at the top of the justifiable market range, supported by staging, professional photography, and a strong launch plan. This helps us hit that sweet spot where we're not leaving any money on the table, but we're not scaring buyers off either. So here is the big takeaway. Pricing is personal. It's not just about square footage, comps, or algorithms. It's about you, your timeline, your next move, your financial goals, and your family's situation. That's why we never use a cookie cutter pricing strategy. We use a customized plan based on your motivation and what will give you the best possible outcome with the least stress. So if you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, or even if you're just trying to figure out what the right timing or strategy might look like, reach out to us. Becky and I would love to sit down, learn your goals, and build a plan around your story. Call, text, or message us anytime, and don't forget to subscribe for more local real estate insight right here in the Triangle.